disclosed in public, this can be provided to the committee either in private or in writing. However, please be advised that Standing Order 111 in the following circumstances permits for non-disclosure of information, and these are the national security matters, third-party confidential information, personal and human resources matters, and committee deliberation and development of the committee's recommendations and the reports, which is ahead of us this morning. This is a parliamentary meeting, and all information gathered is covered under the Parliamentary Power and Privilege Act 1965. Moving forward, please bear in mind that we do not condone slander or libel of any sort. And any information brought before this committee should be based on facts. In terms of protocol of this committee meeting, please minimize the usage of mobile phones, and all mobile phones are to be on silent mode while the meeting is in progress. I wish to also remind honorable members and our guests that all questions are to be addressed through the chairperson. I would like the members of the committee to introduce themselves. Honorable members, the floor is open.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I am B.M. Pile, member of the Standing Committee on Social Affairs. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I'm Praveen Bala, member of the committee.
Honorable Bia, can you introduce yourself, sir?
Honorable Chair, to the members that are presenting this morning, Honorable Ali Kimbi, a member of the committee.
Thank you very much, honorable members. Ilyas Avanawalu, the chairperson of this committee. Today, the committee will be hearing submission from the Ministry of Itaukei Affairs. This is in relation to the Ministry of Itaukei Affairs Annual Report 2022-2023. And before us, we have a representative from the ministry, executive team, and I would like to thank them for availing themselves to appear to this hearing. Due to the essence of time, you may be given a responses brief on this subject matter. I'll repeat that again. Due to the essence of time, you may give responses brief, and the member will intervene with a supplementary question during your presentation. And now I'll invite the official from the Ministry of Itaukei Affairs to introduce themselves and then begin with the presentation. Thank you, sir. You may start now.
Thank you, Chair, Honorable Assistant Minister, and Honorable members of the Parliamentary Standing Committee on Social Affairs. Thank you for the welcome this morning, and it's a great honor and privilege for us to appear before the Parliamentary Standing Committee on Social Affairs. I've brought a big team this morning to provide justice to the annual report 2022-2023 and whatever has been written and it's in that report, and also to provide justice to the questions and responses that you'd require from us this morning, and also the hard work that's been done by my executive team, the various heads, this morning, and to introduce them to your good self, so that, you know, whenever you might need assistance from us, you can contact them directly. I'm Tsone Navakamodea, Permanent Secretary for Itaukei Affairs. 9 months to the position now of Permanent Secretary for Itaukei Affairs. I'll allow my team to introduce themselves this morning to this August committee, and then we'll proceed from there. Our presentation will be undertaken by our Deputy Secretary Operations.
Good morning, Honorable Chair. My name is Paul Tione. currently the acting DS operation in the ministry.
Niang Winaka, Chair and members of the Standing Committee on Social Affairs. I'm Cyprian Nemani. I'm with the Department of Culture, Heritage and Arts.
Bulbinaka Honorable Chair, Bulbinaka Honorable Members, Anas Tawaki, Manager Itaukei Land, Itaukei Institute of Language and Culture.
Bulbinaka, Mr. Chair, Social Standing Committee, and honorable panel members. My name is Kitone Viskula. I'm currently the acting chairman for Itaukei Lands and Fisheries Commission.
Bulbinaka, Honorable Chair and Honorable Members, Joseph Kaitilala with the Corporate Services Division.
Chair, I'll invite my Deputy Secretary to provide the PowerPoint presentation, what was requested by the Secretary, just to run through the major issues.
Honorable Chair and honorable members of the Standing Committee. Very briefly, our presentation this morning, we have only 4 slides.
Thank you.
Can you move to this next slide, please? The content of these slides is just to state a review of the objective, what is the responses to the questions that has been raised. We received 18 questions. And then lastly, the concluding conclusion. Out of the, next slide, please. Okay, very briefly, I think something is wrong with the, we received 18 questions. And then we have allocated those 18 questions into thematic areas that will allow us to deliver our response this morning. We look at that there are 3 questions from under finance, VKB registration and board fees. And then there's question 4 on policy changes, and there's question 5 on regulation changes. Question 6 and 7 related to infrastructure and sustainability. Question 8, 9, and 10, it covers the customary title leadership development, the VKB digitalization. Question 11 is on Levuka beautification with our cultural heritage. Question 12 on resource owners forum. And question 13 is on cultural heritage preservation. 14 and 15 is questions on public engagement and consultation. Question 16 is on SDG alignment. Question 17 is on gender equality. And question 18 is on staffing. I think, Honorable Chair and the members of the Chair, I think the very objective of our purpose this morning is just to respond to what has been raised. We believe that after this session, we'll be able to clarify all those queries. And second to that, we believe that we'll be able to recognize the importance of this session that will assist us to understand what are the requirements for us to move forward to improve on the future undertakings. And I think to conclude with our presentation this morning, we just like to highlight that annual reports are an important document in which it portrays the performance of the ministry. And also this briefing session is very important as well. It gives us allows the opportunity that we can further deliberate on what was reported way back in 22-23, and also get what are the feedbacks from the standing committee in which it will assist us to do better in the future engagement. I think that is the end of my presentation this morning. And then we'll move into the questions. It's hyperlinked. I request the Secretary if you can just click into the hyperlink in which we have the responses of the 18 questions. Apologize that we were not able to put everything in our slides, but I think we have submitted the Word document and also the Excel, which outline our response on the 18 questions this morning.
Chair, through you, say, if I may request the Secretary just to click on the hyperlink provided so that it goes to the detailed responses to the questions that was raised by the Standing Committee. And then we can just briefly highlight for your information what's contained in the responses. And then we'll be happy to, when we conclude, we'll be happy to receive supplementary questions or clarifications from members of the Standing Committee. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Can you check on that link, Secretary?
Link the blue MTA response.
That one there. Just double click there. Put your case, sir.
Chair, through you again, if I could refer honorable members of the Standing Committee on Social Affairs just to refer to the hard copies that has been provided.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then our Deputy Secretary can just run through very briefly.
Right.
And we'll progress from there in terms of questions and clarifications from the members of this August committee.
Okay.
Chair, may I intervene?
Yeah. Yeah. So what actually we are trying to say here now, because we got the hard copy in front of us, will be more wiseful for us to start working the hard copy while they're trying to get the link up running. So I'll maybe ask the Deputy PS if you can just go through with the hard copy in front of us, like question by question, just a brief, so that we'll be able to supplement our question. We'll intervene as you move along. Is that good enough for us, honorable members? Welcome to do so.
Honorable Chair, on question 1 is in regards to the revenue earned by the ministry from 22-23 and how it impacted development for the Itaukei community. Very briefly, we have two streams of revenues. One is the VKB registration, and second to that is the board fee. However, the revenue is not sufficient to directly impact development of Itaukei communities, which means to say that the ministry relying on the normal annual budget, which was, I think, in 22-23 was 15 point something million. In that 15 point something million, there are capital projects which assist the communities to empower them on economic empowerment, social development, and other development that is aligned to the resource, to development of their resources. So that is very briefly on question 1, sir.
I may intervene for question 1. While talking about your budget, are there any trend from the last years, apart from 22-23, the allocation of your budget? Because when you talk about, we have a budget constraint moving forward. If we can be provided after this meeting to get the trend backward and forward, so that we may be able for the committee to look at the trend and the justification of our budget in terms of your major projects. We'll need that clarity as we move along, so that it'll give us an insight. Because once we have the budget and the justification, from there the committee can recommend to help you out in terms of your development. Because when we give you this much, the government need to justify what has happened to that sum of money. There's a lot of happening in other institutions, and I believe the committee has learned a lot from those. So that will give us an outreach decision-making to Parliament. When we table this report, they really need, because when we talk about the project that's been happening for quite, in terms of trends and analysis, that will give us the way moving forward. Honorable members, any other supplementary question on that? We talk about their budget. That was on question 1.
Yeah, apart from budget, I think what we discussed, Chair, last time was on the registration, VKV registration, and there was a suggestion that you should also carry out this registration in other countries. I mean, how far can you just update on that from the last meeting that we had?
Yeah, Chair, if I may answer to that, and maybe I'll request acting chair for TLFC to further deliberate on that. On our diaspora, I think you'll be aware that we just returned from UK in May. It quite a very significant achievement in doing registration for our diaspora, which they are into the 3rd generation in the UK. 1,000 plus, if I may round up the numbers. Recently, we just back from Australia during the Fiji Day celebration, quite a significant numbers as well. Meaning to say that people are moving overseas, our diasporas are there, and there's a need for us to do that. Very much, yes. We are working towards that, and there are other plans in the future for us to do registration of our Volunteer with our diaspora overseas.
Honorable members?
Yeah, through you, Honorable Chair. So those who are being registered in the VKB, do they have to pay a fee?
Chair, through you, honorable member, the registration into the Volunteer is free of charge.
You mentioned your VKB registration and board fees in your presentation. That's why I'm raising this.
Through you, Chair, what has been stated in the submission, in fact, refers to the payment of VKB certificates as a proof that one has been recorded in the Itaukei landowners register, which is 60 cents per copy, and also the VKB copies for issue. But the actual registration for an Itaukei is the birth certificate and just the filling of a couple of forms before you are entered into the Volunteer. So basically,
There's no fees.
No fees, except for VKB certificate and the VKB copies if you want to obtain a copy.
So what are some of the current challenges while registering for our diaspora in other countries? Some of the countries still left for the team to go in and register. Apart from the successes, what are some of the current challenges faced by the ministry?
Chair, through you, honorable member, since the couple of visits that has been undertaken by the ministry, I believe in the last 10 years, going once in a while, maybe once per year, every 2 years, the UK, Australia, New Zealand. I believe the challenge is, in fact, the Itaukei wanting to be registered, because they will have to come to us to be wanting to be registered. But we believe that most have been carried away with life overseas and probably linkages back to the home country, which is why the Itaukei has envisioned the last few years to try to visit them as much, just so that they can have that the need to come back and be registered, to be knowing of what they own back home, and it will maybe probably lead on to other things such as the investment back home and others. Thank you, sir.
If I may add to that, Honorable Chair.
SPS.
Currently, there is the digitalization work being undertaken by the Itaukei Lands and Fisheries Commission. That's in progress to have the services online. This is just internally within the country. They have access with the provincial councils. But the long term, given the demand from our diaspora overseas, is to do digitalization and online platforms so that our diaspora can have direct access with security measures through going to the High Commission to register from there.
Naka, all good? We're moving forward.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Just one more question. The VKB registration is fully digitized. This started in 2014. What the ministry is doing in regards to the upkeep or the safekeeping of the records that was previously done manually.
Thank you, through you, Chair, if I may. Honorable Member, with the project on the data transfer from the VKB manual in 2014, which ended in 2016 before the database was set up. And then we had trialed 6 officers for 6 provincial officers to be able to set up that system where one can come to the provincial office and look at the VKB digitized copy. So far, we've regularized to 14 provinces where there are 14 VKB officers. And moving forward, as PS has stated, we are looking at trying to set up the platform so that eventually one living overseas can be able to access. But we need budgeting. We need other technical assistance, such as hosting of the software system. We need a software engineer. We also need the security measures that need to be, apart from ITC, which is the government hosting of all the documents for the government. Perhaps there need to be more discussions for that.
Honorable Chair, for the information of the team, we have actually visited your office where this VKV registration process is being done. My question was, what about the manual recordings? There was some mention by your team then they were facing some challenges as far as the safekeeping of those documents. That's what I'm asking, what the ministry is doing to keep those documents also safe, since all this information is digitized now.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Chair, through you, there's a preservation unit where there's a conservation officer and his assistants that are now operating from the office. They go around to the 14 offices and the upkeeping of the books, including repairs, and also coming up with suggestions on how to keep those books. This is including drawers that are purchased for their safekeeping, and also making suggestions for improvements at the office, where we need additional rooms for registry because the book room is already full. That will be needing more spaces, plus other things such as the air conditions for the maintenance of the book at the right temperature. I think, Honorable Member, that is also will be requesting budget for that in the future. No, sir.
That's why, Honorable Chair, we raised that issue.
Chair.
That was also mentioned to us during our last visit. And the ministry is facing some challenges, which maybe in our meeting we can consider later while doing the report back. Thank you.
Thank you very much, honourable members. We'll take note of that and the explanation. Way moving forward, Honourable Bia. Your question, sir.
Yeah, Chair. Thank you, Chair. Through you, would like to thank the Itaukei officers that are here this morning. Thank you for the hard work that they've done so far. And just looking at the annual report, this is just out of thin air. We don't want to be in a position where we, as parliamentarians, members of parliament, and as ministers and assistant ministers, whereby we suggest a lot of things for you to do, but on the other hand, you are limited in terms of the funding allocation that is allocated to the Ministry of Itaukei Affairs. I've seen your response on, I think it's question 1. I feel sorry for the Ministry of Itaukei Affairs because all the revenue earned is directed to the government consolidated fund. And you've mentioned this is in regards to the absence of a trust fund account. So looking at that, you're solely relying on the funds allocated by government. I just wanted to know, should more be done in terms of the relationship that is there, on what is the nature of the relationship that is there between Ministry of Itaukei Affairs and Itaukei Trust Fund? I know the work that you do as a ministry. You've done a lot of work in terms of projects and other work that you do in Itaukei communities. Should there be also funding from Itaukei Trust Fund to help the work that you do? Because looking at the revenue that you earned, it's all directed to government consolidated fund. Just wanted to know the relationship that is there between Ministry of Itaukei Affairs and Itaukei Trust Fund. Vinaka.
PS?
Thank you, Honorable Chair. If I may, respond to the questions from Honorable Ali Kimbia. Yes, there is a close working relationship with the Itaukei Trust Fund. The Itaukei Trust Fund, runs with its own act and board. They've assisted the ministry recently, the past 2 years, in the funding of the Vonua Leadership Program, part of which is executed or implemented by the Itaukei Lands and Fisheries Commission. In terms of traditional governance, of going out to the provinces and confirming chiefly titles in the various Vanuas in various districts and provinces. But of course, that dialogue can happen, but the Itaukei Trust Fund was primarily established for self-funding of the GCC. Now that the GCC is being resurrected, they've got programs running that will be funded by the Itaukei Trust Fund, which comes through the Itaukei Affairs Board and then released to the GCC. Hope I've answered your question.
Honorable Bia, we are hearing the response from PS, and it's quite loud and clear on the explanation. You okay with that? Vinaka, we're moving forward. Got question number 2. Just give us a brief, sir, for that.
Very briefly, Honorable Chair, we have an increase of about 1.1 million in our budget. However, the main capital expenditures are on Seg 6. These are grants that goes to the public, to the TEP, Itaukei Affairs Board, also to the Itaukei, to the provincial councils, and also to Nandave, which is about roughly it's around 9.6 million. So I have stating that we can really see that these grants are very important. They play a very important role. It allows empowerment to the Itaukei Affairs Board to deliver its core responsibilities on the well-being and also on the governance of Itaukei. It also assisted the empowerment of Auturani Core and Matinskino on their allowances to enable them to deliver the responsibility in taking Vonua leadership that is somehow directly impacted the economic development and social development of our Itaukei communities. There are also grants for our cultural institutions, Fiji Museum, also Fiji Arts Councils and National Trust of Fiji, which directly supported the mandate of the ministry in trying to work on how our heritage and our knowledge and our tradition culture
Chair,
are promoted
through you,
and taken
if
care
I
of.
may intervene.
Yes,
What
Honorable
is the
members.
future of Fiji Museum? Are we going to continue with the same form? Or is there any plan? Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Through you, Honorable Chair. Basically, the Fiji Museum, as you know, is a statutory body established through the Fiji Museum Act and, of course, with aligning legislations regarding preservation of archaeological and paleontological act. So at this point in time, Honorable Member, basically the Fiji Museum is funded, majority of its funding comes through a government grant that is given to them on an annual basis. They have the option of accessing funding externally as well from other institutions, whether it be UNESCO or other organizations at international level. The state as it is, there is capital funding given by government as well to facilitate the expansion of the Fiji Museum so that the collection that ages 100 or more years ago that is kept in its current collection is safeguarded. In addition to that, they are working on developing research, state-of-the-art facility research adjacent to the storage collection to allow researchers to come in and use the collection. So the move right now benchmarking with international museums is not only to see the museum as a space for exhibitions only, but more or less as a learning institution, a space where it becomes an educational space as well, facility where we are able to share the knowledge with between practitioners, keepers of the objects, the artifacts, at the same time share it with the younger generation now, so there is a continuity, sustainability in that fact. So there's the changing trend in terms of the museum. The current challenge they face at the moment, sir, is basically the facilities. So with the meager fund given to them, they're trying their best to facilitate the expansion of the museum proper, so that it becomes a fully fledged institution where all the public and of course citizens will be able to enjoy access to the facility.
Daka, thank you very much, honourable members. We're moving forward. We'll go straight to question number 3.
Honourable Chair, I think the question stated on some of the significant financial challenges faced during 22-23 and how they were addressed. Very briefly, Honourable Chair and Honourable members, the budget limitations, these are something that has been experienced in the past, especially on SEG 1, 2, 3, and 4. So due to that shortfall, there are smart plan in which some of the prioritization were done, redivision environmental funds in areas that of great need. So doing that, we managed to facilitate what is required with the prioritization of work and environmental funds. Also, one of the big challenges was the prioritization of some of the very critical activities in the first 100 days, in which has been there for quite some time. And the coalition government moves in trying to assist us how we can prioritize this. So it was done through prioritization that we managed to finance all this new initiative that is critical to the Itaukei communities. So overall, sir, the challenges were addressed through smart planning, plus smart execution and prioritization of what is required to be delivered. Thank you, Honourable Chair.
Thank you, sir. Item question number 4.
Question number 4 is highlighted on some of the major policy changes that implemented during the period, and how did it impact the core function of the Ministry of Itaukei Affairs. Very briefly to state that there were some changes in the policies, which highlighted the review of the Itaukei administration, Itaukei Land Transport, and Itaukei Lands and Fisheries Commission. I think the main aim of this is trying to modernize and improve on our systems of how we deliver our services, especially to our Itaukei land owners. So the first one is the well-being, which requires the major changes in our DGC. It was re-established, and also it promoted a Solidarity framework. The Solidarity framework, Honourable Chair and the members, it highlighted how the Itaukei institution can share resources, technicalities to improve the fully develop of the Itaukei resources into a more tangible impact. Also into that, there was a new policy such as the Fiji National Cultural Policy of 23 to 2033. It improves and protects the strengthens and preservation of Itaukei identity, heritage, and intellectual property. The third one is briefly on the socio-economic initiative. This was the village improvement scheme, revival of that, which was it was done in the past. It usually empower and improve basic facilities in villages that will allow them to generate income and improve their community livelihood, and also provide more benefits to our landowners. The fourth one is on redefinition of Itaukei boundaries. I think this is one of very important critical work as well. Once the land boundaries are demarcated, they give them opportunity to venture into other financial development that will assist their socio-economic development in their villages. And the last is regards to the Ratuskuna Day celebration 2023. Ratuskuna Day was focusing on visionary leadership and education, in which we believe that the Ratuskuna Day portrays are very important to our young generation in order for them to take the importance of visionary leadership and also education moving forward. So overall, the impact is stated in the last paragraph. It improves, enhances digital governance, improve transparency, management, promoting sustainable economic empowerment for the Itaukei communities. Honorable Chair.
Thank you, sir. We'll go straight to item question number 5.
Question number 5, Honorable Chair, honorable members, amendments of regulation that directly affected Itaukei communities. There were few amendments done in our the regulation which really have positive into the Itaukei. I think the number 1 is the amendments of the review and amendments of the Itaukei Land Trust Act of 1940. With removal of the Itaukei Land Trust Act of 2021, it brings back restoration of landowners' control over their land lease. This is in regards to the consent processes. And second to that is the Itaukei Land Trust Lease and License Amendments Regulation 2023, which that is in line to the Bill 70, how the distribution and sharing of the land leases, which provides and ensures greater fairness and transparency. Amendments number 3, amendments to Regulation 11 of Itaukei Land Trust Gravel Regulation. There was a review of the rate in which there was an increase of royalty rates for extraction of sand, gravel, and related material. This increase is really impacted the improvement of financial return for the Itaukei landowners. On number 4 is the Itaukei Affairs Amendment Bill 2023. Amendment is to provide for the re-establishment and the funding of Green Council of Chiefs and reinforcing traditional governance and structure. This is very important in regards to the Green Council of Chiefs and how important this is to the livelihood and the leadership of the Itaukei. Overall impact, Honorable Chair and members, it clearly stated that it improves economic development, social development, enhance transparency in land administration, in which it directly and positively implicates the Itaukei communities. Honorable Chair.
Thank you, sir. We'll go straight to item number 6, the question.
Honorable Chair, on question number 6, this in regards to some of the key infrastructure projects undertaken in 2022-23 and how it did improve service delivery. I think the number 1 is about the QE management system, which was recently installed in our TLFC. It improves service delivery. It also, that is in regards to coordination, online recording, which means that the reporting will be updated, analysis of those reports to provide policy and leadership decision in coming future. The second to that was also in regards to the infrastructure-related projects, including land survey. Our team project staff, which include land surveys on demarcation of our land. The numbers are there. They're able to deliver 34.6 kilometers of unsurveyed Itaukei land was surveyed, 28.76 kilometers of demarcated. Village boundary as well was plotted into the JS for 74 villages, and the redefinition surveys of 30 was completed. On the third, number 3 is the Department of Culture deed of cession site beautification project of 50,000 that was earlier stated. So these are some of the main infrastructure development that really impacted the livelihood of our Itaukei. Honorable Chair.
Thank you, sir. Question number 7.
Honorable Chair, on question number 7, how did the Minister of Itaukei Affairs ensure sustainability in its infrastructure? I think foremost, there was a capacity building in trying to improve the knowledge and the skills of our staff in order for how they will handle, how we'll take care of these infrastructures moving forward. There was training as well for registered surveyors. We are so fortunate that our technical team were part of this. And also the funding support in the maintenance and repair of this infrastructure. Cultural heritage and environment consideration was embedded into the policy advice, which improves on social, economic, and environment matters affecting Itaukei well-being. Honorable Chair.
Thank you very much, sir. Question number 8.
Question number 8, Honorable Chair and Honorable Members. Can the Minister of Itaukei Affairs provide some of the major challenges encountered while filling customary titles in the 14 provinces? On number 1, I think this is one of the main critical, that is on the funding limitations and constraints. Filling of position involves quite a very, I can say, operational activities. They have to visit the communities, the villages, informal sittings, formal sittings. If there's a dispute, there'll be another visit. So it means to say, visiting 14 provinces to do this is quite a very expensive and costly exercise. And that is one of the factors. With limited budget, there is a limitation as well for us to do this very critical work.
Chair, through you, may I intervene? So,
Thank you, sir.
how
Carry on.
many titles is in dispute? And you may recall that in the last submission, public submission that we had, I did raise about the title of Maramatimba, and we were assured that the board is working towards. If that can update on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson, through you, sir. If I may, to answer the question from Honorable Bala. I'll take the second one first, sir. For your information, we sat at Nailangamba last week, Wednesday and Thursday, on a court sitting regarding the title of the Twimba. And next week, on the 21st, which is on Friday, will be the delivery of the judgment on who is going to be the Twimba Nailanga. The bus of the one of Tilibam Bukuya, the bus of Tiwa. So that's for your question, sir, on the Twimba. And regarding the number of titles, the number of titles, sir, we can never always confirm because it depends on the members of the Matangali and the Abusa when they do not agree. Yes, the titles in dispute. So, yeah, like I said, sir, it cannot be always confirmed. But whenever we get the numbers in a given year, we put it into the program. So it's for our target is 4 per year, sir. For the formal sitting, that's a formal sitting. But disputes are always forever occurring, for your information, Honorable Bala. This is why we also have informal sittings first, and then we give them the opportunity for the commission not to sit, because when the commission sits, it's the law is going to come in and take over all the traditional obligations and all this. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir, for that. Live, in-depth for us to know, to understand. Sir, you may continue.
Honorable Chair, on the second challenge is the population mobility. Most of our people in the villages are moving to urban, overseas. So it's very challenging to note that some of the Matangali members and some Matangali there is no members in the villages because we need numbers to make consent of this process. So the moving of people overseas and urban is really a challenge for them to get the numbers in order for them to complete the process of filling of these positions.
So, Chair, through you, so if that is the case, what is ministry doing to see that the people remains in villages, especially the youths, I mean, I know they want to have a town and city life, but if we don't do anything, a day will come when we will have our villages empty. So is there any plan or anything that ministry thinks that, or there is a plan to retain people in the villages?
If I may, Chair, start, then maybe PSO. Yeah. I think, yes, the ministry is working on that in trying to, I think one of the very, very first thing is trying to get opportunities in our villages, so there are opportunities, and also in improving and developing their resources. So the Slovakia framework was somehow, it will assist into that, in which we create opportunities and we capacitate them and empower them so they can use their resources. However, it is, honestly speaking, that the ministry can't do it alone. It's need a whole of government approach so that we can work together in creating opportunities so that people can stay back at home, improving their livelihood and opportunities for them to develop the resource.
Yeah, through you, if I may, just...
Honorable Bila, on the question?
Chair, through you, just in regards to the issue that was raised by Honorable Bala, just a suggestion to the senior officials that are here this morning. Would it be fair, because when we talk about economic growth as a country and as a government, as parliamentarians, we take it in totality. When we say economic growth, we talk about Fiji as a whole. Would it be fair for the Minister of Economy to do detailed economic growth on every province so that it's easy for Itaukei Affairs to pick out issues in terms of economic development on various provinces so that they can carry out projects with other relevant government ministry to focus on for the Ministry of for the Ministry of Economy or Ministry of Finance to do economic growth analysis on every province throughout Fiji.
Honorable Biano to take it, Chair. Yes.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Through you again, if I may just elaborate on the point raised by Honorable Pravin Bala and also with Honorable Ali Kimbia. Firstly, creating economic opportunities out there in the rural areas. I think that's a very important point. It involves a whole of government approach with the IRDF Integrated Rural Development Framework review that's been undertaken. Hopefully that will facilitate that in terms of working together, coordination and collaboration across ministries, looking at development opportunities out there in the various provinces in terms of the resource endowments. The discussion that we've had with the Ministry of Rural and Maritime Development was for the provincial administrators to start working on a provincial development plan that aligns, that all sector ministries will align to. And for us at the ministry, we have a commercial development unit within the Itaukei tab, currently with a commercial manager and 4 senior economic planning officers. The thinking is to appoint 14 and post them out to the 14 provincial council to do scoping and profiling of the various tikinas, villages, in terms of the resources they have and the various opportunities in terms of small income generating progress plus, SMEs, MSMEs, and large scale investment opportunities. When I say economic and social economic profiling, we'll identify exactly what the opportunities that are there and then do proposals, write proposal. And firstly, they have to have a working committee at the provincial level with the PA, the agricultural officer, the women's interest officer, and the various heads of the government ministries that are there in the provincial office and start discussing the opportunity. And then they align the proposal to the funding agency that can be funded. Secondly, given the rural-urban migration, this is a big challenge for us. Labor shortages in terms of agricultural productivity, which is affecting, food and nutrition security at the various communities. You visit the communities, you see tin stuff and noodles being, eaten during lunch and sometimes dinner. That's why, you relate that to the high increase of NCDs. So we've signed MOUs with the Ministry of Agriculture in terms of food and nutrition security. We are also signed MOU with the Songo of Amarama because they play the active role at visiting rural communities and villages in terms of health and well-being and nutrition, how they prepare their food, vegetables and other healthy foods that they should be eating.
Thank you very much, PS. Sir, we'll continue with our presentation. Question number 9.
Honorable Chair, I think the last is the pending of Earth Truth or Hubbard myth or legends. These are some of the very challenging as well. The misinformation that really created disputes, and also some of them are challenging the information that we have evolved in Kambula. But however, at the end, through the hard working of our staff, they managed to control and manage these issues. Thank you, Honorable Chair. On question number 9, Honorable Chair, is initiative introduced to improve leadership skills among Itaukei leaders during the period of 22 and 23. The first is on the TLFC leadership awareness focus on Itaukei leaders. These are the title holders. A full thorough training to capacitate them on their leadership, on the governance, and other development. And the second to that is the Vulisa Sovakinivanua. This we have worked together with our Itaukei Affairs Board, in which the leaders and the community members are trained and capacitated for them to understand their roles and their responsibility as a leader, and also as a member of the community, that they have their respective duties to perform in order to maintain the socio-economic development in the village. Number 3 is the Vulin Sosovo. These are basically on the succession plan of future leaders. They are trained on various areas of governance, on economics, and also on well-being. And the last one is Tambose Vanua. It's a recent training program which targeted Tambose Vanua. These are the very core people of leadership. Lilunia Busa, Matangali, Toka, and those that are registered in the Voli Kambula, they are trained as well to understand their core roles, their responsibilities, so they can maintain peace and stability, as well as contributing to the socio-economic development of their respective villages.
Thank you, Chair. We'll go straight to question 10.
Honorable Chair, on question 10, Ministry of Affairs update the digitalization of Voli Kambula. I think we have
Covered that.
initially discussed on this.
Okay. That's been covered. We'll go straight to question number 11.
Question number 11 is on the annual report, 50,000 for Livuka Council, deed of session site. This basically for the beautification. Just to provide an update, the 50,000, okay. To complete the whole process of this project, we need 300,000. However, the 50,000 that was provided, it allows us to work on the stage 1 of the project. More on the preliminary scoping, looking to the necessary regulatory and other things that we need to work on. We have able to utilize 42,369, but I think it's still incomplete. The plan for the Department of Culture for them to work on 25-26 in order for them to complete this project with a budget of about another 300,000.
May I intervene?
Thank you, sir. Floor is
I was
yours.
going through this report and I found out, as you have stated, that the whole project to complete would cost around 300,000. This 300,000 came after the initial of 50,000, or initially it was the scope of work was done and the cost came to 300,000.
Thank you, Honourable Member. Through you, Chair and Honourable Members. Basically, the 50,000 was given to the Levoka Town Council as, I would say, preparatory payment for basic scoping of the site in itself. So after the scoping exercise was done and those preparatory work done, they were able to ascertain the actual value of the total rehabilitation of the Levuka World Heritage Deed of Session site. So one of the key things, Honourable Member, is that it has to conform to the outstanding universal values that have aligned Levuka to become a World Heritage Site. So from that initial exercise, they were able to see that some of the key things that needs to be addressed costed more than what they had initially done in terms of releasing the 50,000 grant to the Levuka Town Council to aid in that regard.
This is exactly what I'm saying, because we visited the site. And I think the best thing would have been if the scope at the initial stage would have been better. So budgeting purposes would have been aligned with your submission. But in future, if we can work towards that. Now coming back to this heritage thing, let's deal with this. In Parliament, Honourable Prime Minister assured to give funding for the heritage buildings, to bring it to its form and, to restore. How far people have gone in that.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Through you, Chair, and Honorable Members. So, the rehabilitation work to restore Levuka back to its state as a state of outstanding universal value, as a World Heritage Site, cost around more than 40 million. This is an assessment done after Cyclone Winston in 2016, which was way back, and through pockets of assistance rendered, there was very minimal done towards the rehabilitation of Levuka proper. So through the recent deployment of funds that have been put through the Department of Culture for capital works, one of the major move has been achieved is basically one of the bigger buildings, the Levuka Town, Levuka Community Center, which has been rehabilitated recently, ready for opening. However, the other issue is the other residential buildings which have been left idle since the 2016 Cyclone Winston with minimal. So that is our foremost aim right now, is to facilitate assistance and render them to these households so that they'll be able to restore these buildings to its heritage status, conforming to the World Heritage values. So at this point in time, sir, basically the idea is to focus on buildings that are currently habitated, those that have residents living in them, and then from then on, we're moving towards rehabilitating other buildings that need to be restored. And most of these were destroyed or basically damaged since Cyclone Winston in 2016. So majority of the funding is coming from government. The assurance, or basically the idea of tapping into other international funding is minimal, given that a lot of it has to come from the government itself in terms of funding the restoration of the site. So at this point in time, sir, basically our progress of works is looking at restoring the residential houses that needs to be rehabilitated.
Thank you, Honorable Chair, through you. As per the information from the Honorable Minister in Parliament, according to him, the work has already started. They have already assisted some residential homes, and there was some list of homes that were still pending. And according to him, there was a budget given of $1.5 million. So can you inform the committee the number of residential homes that have been assisted so far and the pending number? If you don't have the data, you can give it to us later.
Thank you, Honourable Member. Through you, Chair, and Honourable Members, yes, 10 houses are currently on our list, which will be the first to receive assistance. We're working through operational procedures, as per requirements of the Ministry of Finance, that the funds we have to delineate properly the issue of grants to each of the house, how much the occupants can provide and how much government can provide. So once we facilitate this whole process, the procedural process, we'll be able to roll it out. We've had technical experts coming in from Japan who have visited the site 3 times, basically to assess these houses and see what areas we can assist in terms of funding the restoration of these houses. So the deployment of the funds will happen as soon as once we're able to finalize the grant agreement in terms of the issuance of the funds to these 10 houses. In addition to that, there are 6 public buildings that have been assessed as well by these conservation experts who will also potentially receive assistance from the grant provided by government for capital works.
Thank you, Honorable Chair, through you. As you have mentioned that you'll be providing grants to the 10 households, and there must be a number of households still left to be assisted. What is the average cost you are looking at? What is the average grant per household that is required for them to renovate their house?
Thank you, Honourable Member. Through you, Chair. Basically, the average the initial assessment done after Cyclone Winston, 2018, for each of the households to restore them was 1 million, the average. But after our assessment and bringing in technical experts who are able to ascertain the actual cost, it averages around 10,000, 10 to 15,000 per household in terms of restoration works. You don't necessarily have to take down the whole house, just have to repair components to maintain the integrity and the authenticity of the house in itself. So it's a major reduction from initial finding that was done prior. So 10 to 15 grand is total for each house to restore or rehabilitate them to each authentic state.
Yeah, if I may, through
Yes,
you,
yes, continue, sir.
just to add on, you know, this there's a need, given the commitment by government, the coalition government, to restore heritage site buildings around Fiji. Now, there's a lot of funding, money involved. How do we, you know, recoup the money or the grants that have been provided? We need to work with the Ministry of Tourism and also local government in terms of elevating the marketing of Levuka as a heritage town and site, so that you allow tourism related activities to be strengthened or increased in Levuka Township in itself. And also, you know, the opportunity for bed and breakfasts that are there, so that every those residential owners can look into the opportunities that are there. But from the tourist side and also for us, it's a learning experience for us to go back into history and see those heritage sites and how we value and pride ourselves in terms of our journey in development. And this needs to be documented and given out to schools, communities, and also the tourists that are coming. This heritage site tourism is big business overseas, and we should do the same here in Fiji. Thank you.
Chair,
Yeah,
may I intervene?
continue, sir.
Supplementary plus supplementary. You have mentioned about the sharing formula. And you said that you people are in process of formulating that formula. What would be the percentage, government and landlord?
Thank you, Honorable Member. Honorable Chair, through you and Honorable Member for that question. Basically, our initial assessment, there was a socio-economic analysis assessment done on site to ascertain the sort of income generated by each household that have been targeted for the 10 houses. So what we found, sir, was basically there's varied income levels among the household owners, the resident, property owners, and most of the residents themselves are senior citizens. So one of the key things we are looking at is addressing the cost sharing on a case-by-case basis, right? So that we can ascertain how much each of the households can receive. So this is something that we'll have to put up to Ministry of Finance and of course our legal Solicitor General's office to ascertain.
Thank you very much, sir. We'll continue with the question. It's coming up, number 12.
Chair and honorable members, on question number 12 is in regards to the Itaukei Resource Owners Forum conducted in 2023 and how it benefited the resource owners. This is the first year of these resource owners in 2023. It was held on the 30th of March 23. And I think the overall objective of this is just it was focusing on awareness, informative sessions so that our Itaukei resource owners will understand the opportunity that is out there. That is the main objective of that session in 2023. In regard to that, they were invited to attend and also businesses were invited so they can provide opportunities and what are the processes and systems that can be followed. which is the main purpose is to empower our resource owners, enable them to understand what is happening and what is opportunities for them to utilize their resources and develop into that. So there were a few partnerships were endorsed and signed in that session, about 8 of it. I think one of the significant one that I'd just like to highlight is Juice Fiji Limited. It able to work with our resource owners on some of the native traditional herbs that they have, which can be used in formulating the Juice Fiji. And in that regard as well, I think the starting of discussions with our partnership with Merchants Finance and FDB. And for the information of the forum this morning, Honorable Chair, we were able to assist it as of today 46 businesses, Itaukei businesses. And that partnership, the ministry through government, we pay a subsidy of the first 3 years. And we have distributed a subsidy of about 1.5 million. And Merchants Finance have provided the other component of about 22.7 million as of today. So, Honorable Chair, to state that, yes, the forum plays a very critical role. It provides pathways, it provides opportunities, and that is how Itaukei businesses have been assisted as of this morning.
Thank you very much, sir. That's very interesting to hear, especially when you start developing this from 2023, and 46 have already been up, running, and the support from relevant stakeholders when you talk about financing and all these things. Hopefully, way moving forward, there will be more people come on board to utilize this platform, especially for the development of the Itaukei people. Question number 13, sir. Go ahead.
Honorable Chair, I'll request the Director of Culture and Heritage if he can just take us through the question number 13 on cultural heritage.
Honorable Chair, honorable members of the Standing Committee, basically number 13 covers providing the Standing Committee with an update on progress regarding preservation of Fiji's cultural heritage since 2022. So you have in front of you, honorable members, a list of activities that have been undertaken by the Ministry during this period. One of our key achievements was the passing of the Fiji National Cultural Policy, which took 20 years to complete. And it addresses major policy initiatives at national level relating to the safeguarding of Fiji's diverse cultural heritage. When I say safeguarding, it's an encompassing term. It means promoting, preservation, transmission, awareness, advocacy, amongst many other meaning defined under that term. The second major achievement that falls under this category is and thank you to a few members of the Standing Committee for their involvement in the passing and, of course, the first Fiji World Heritage Act 2024. During the period in question, this was a period where a lot of consultation was being done to ascertain the impact and also address major issues that are emanating from communities regarding the implications of passing an act as such. This is pertinent and relevant to the protection of sites such as Levuka and other potential sites, including the Sigatoka Sand Dunes, the Sovi Basin, and of course the Yandua Tamba Iguana Crest in Bua. The other component is during this period there was preliminary work on review of heritage legislations. As you know, honorable members, basically, and chair, a lot of our cultural legislations are archaic. They are very old. The oldest being still active was passed right in 1930s. So these acts need to be reviewed because a lot of components in them do not meet requirements of modern day protection and safeguarding of sites of heritage significance. So one in particular is the preservation of objects of archaeological and Paleontological Interest Act, or POAPI in short, and the other one being the National Trust Act and the Fiji Museum Act. So another major activity happening is the work on intangible cultural heritage. So intangible cultural heritage are basically those heritages that are unseen. Things like our rituals, our ceremonies, mekes, our traditional dances, our chants, amongst others. So projects that were undertaken by the department and adjoining agencies during that period include mapping of Rambi and Kio Islands, and of course looking at documentation of traditional skills, language, amongst others, that related to their community. The other, I think, a key activity that was achieved as a result is the National Intangible Cultural Heritage Framework. This is mandatory under the UNESCO 2003 Convention, which Fiji ratified in 2010. So we have to have a national policy in place to facilitate the rolling out, the implementation of the framework. Okay? So this draft is currently in consultation phase at the moment with technical assistance from the SPC in terms of advice. Once this is pursued and finalized, then it will be submitted through the appropriate authorities in general. Another work that we are doing at the department is addressing protocols or conventions, things that are relevant to Fiji that can protect a lot of our rich heritage resources. One of them is this, the Underwater Heritage Convention, or looking at underwater heritage resources like shipwrecks, things, traditional sites like the sunken islands, stories of the sunken islands in just close to Motoriki, and of course Morotukula. These are stories that have come through as part of our historical storyline. So with the UNESCO Underwater Heritage Convention, there was a preliminary workshop done just to see our readiness and ascertain, do we have the resources, do we have these assets that should be mapped, documented, and of course protected under international legislation such as this convention. The other key achievement, I think, milestone for this particular period, Honorable Chair and members, is Fiji sending a 30-member delegation to the Melanesian Spearhead Group Festival of Arts and Culture, which was held in Vanuatu in 2023. And from that same meeting, we received notification through our Honorable Minister that Fiji will be hosting the same festival in 2026, and government is providing necessary funding for that. In addition to that, Honorable Chair and members, we have the Institute of Language and Culture, which does preservation works as well, specifically for Itaukei community. One of the key activities that they've been doing is cultural mapping. So they've mapped the whole 14 provinces. It took them 18 years to do. So right now, one of the key things they are doing is data consolidation, data editing, and entering into a database that they have set up through funding that came through from the Itaukei Trust Fund Board to assist them in compilation and storage of this information. As our Deputy PS had mentioned earlier, the key idea behind this is to ascertain who are the owners of these particular resources, and to help us, especially should the law on traditional knowledge and expressions of culture is passed, we are able to ascertain where each of these elements are derived from, and each communities there are that these elements are derived from. So right now, this is the work that they are doing. And in addition to that, as part of the mapping exercise they are doing, they are traveling around the country as well through requests from communities to facilitate special revitalization skills initiatives or workshops where practitioners themselves take the lead in terms of facilitating workshops for our communities. It allows for the transmission of knowledge, especially those that are endangered, that are slowly passing. So this is a key work that they are doing as well, in addition to facilitating a review of the monolingual dictionary that is under their purview at the moment. Vinaka, Honorable Chair. And
thank you, Honorable Chair, through you. The earlier statement by the Permanent Secretary in regards to how we can generate income, get revenue through our heritage sites. Whether the department or the ministry has looked into other jurisdictions. Because why I'm saying, there are countries who are very successful in this. When we go for these CPA meetings, after the meetings, they take us to their heritage sites, where that particular country began with, especially with their port of entry and other things. And their own people are paying and visiting in those areas. So how we can improve our heritage sites, and whether there is any opportunity was given to the team to visit other jurisdictions so that we can learn and implement those things here. And slowly we can start to generate some income which will help the community.
Yes. Chair, through you again, honorable members, thank you for the question. Certainly, yeah. One thing is preservation and conservation, and the other component of that is income generation and sustainable livelihoods. Now, we are still in the early stages of cultural mapping and also, having the database and working with the legislation to facilitate those income generating activities, particularly in terms of ownership and distributing the benefits to those that really own the cultural heritage and arts. The other process in terms, how other countries do it is in terms of virtual tourism. That again, translating the database to a product online that can be accessed from those overseas who are interested to come. Every time they log in and you want to learn about this arts, this culture, this tradition, you pay a fee as you log into it. But again, in terms of security, that's another thing that we need to look into to ensure that we own this particular culture, heritage, and arts. We are discussing to leverage on artificial technology, how to protect it and how to disseminate the rich resource in terms of the database that we have. Possibly in a few weeks' time, we'll procure the consultants on AI. AI has a lot of benefits and also a lot of, some negatives around it, but we need to protect the security measures in terms of the database and the arts and knowledge that we own. Again, looking into it in terms of the TKEC bill, traditional knowledge and expression of culture bill that hopefully will come in the December meeting of Parliament, and again on WIPO, International Property Organization and the rights in terms of patenting those particular heritage or arts or culture when you want to turn it into a commercial activity for income generation. The challenge there, with WIPO, patenting is individually. For us, this arts culture is owned by communities. That's another challenge that we have to look into. Thank you, Chair. I hope I've responded to your question.
Thank you very much, PS. We're moving forward. Question number 14.
Honorable Chair and honorable members, it is on the Ministry's engagement on public and stakeholders to ensure transparency and decision making. There was a budget of 60,000 and there was a roadshow in the Asao group. It was held on the 31st to the 3rd of November 2022. It's facilitated by the Integrated Rural Framework Concept, in which the Commission Northern was also part of it, Western part of it, include all the government agencies. And I think the very objective of this is creating awareness. It also provides empowerment. It also an educational in which our Itaukei rural people are advised and provided on-hand services from BDM and also from FMPF and also from the VKB registration. Meaning to say the overall objective was that to create empowerment, awareness, and also provide opportunities. It also involves some of the mitigating of some of the dispute that is out there in the field. So at the end of it is a 4 days roadshow. The community in the Asao group were able to be well informed of what's happening. So the transparency of information, how it was handled, it was achieved at the end of the session. I think there are some other MOUs that have been signed by the ministry, which really underline the partnership. It provides transparency in how things are conducted. Also highlighted in our response as well, the Itaukei stakeholders through consultative forum of our Itaukei institutions in which provides a broader and well-informed consultation for all partners. And I think that is, Honorable Chair and Honorable Members, the response to the question in regards to the public and stakeholder consultation for transparency.
Thank you very much, Chair. We'll go straight to item number 15. Question, please.
Number 15 is on the public consultation feedback mechanism that influence policy changes. Yes, there are some mechanisms in place during the period under review that influence policy changes. And these policy changes are the reinstatement of the Greek Council of Chiefs, the review of the Itaukei administration, review of the Itaukei Lands and Fisheries Commission, also the achievement of some of the repealing of some of the bill, in which it was done through proper consultation. The Provincial Council were consulted, the Tikina Council were consulted, and some of the respective villages were consulted as well, in which the response enabled the ministry and the institution to deliver some of the changes in the policy. Like stated by the Director Culture, the consultation regards to the Fiji Heritage Bill, these are some of the things that were carried out by the Parliamentary Standing Committee. We acknowledge that assistance, and through the Office of the Solicitor Generals and also the peer review of the Fiji National ICH framework. And this, Honorable Chair and Honorable Members, here some of the consultation, public consultations were conducted, in which it was resulted on some of the review of policies, and some of the new policies were developed in order to improve the service delivery of the ministry. Moving to question 16, Honorable Chair and Honorable Members, it is about the SDG. Some of the specific SDG that are related to the ministry's long term. For information, the response stated that there are 9 SDGs have been used to guide the development of the strategic development plan that ties down to the COP for the annual deliverables and also the deliverables of the ministry. For SDG 1 is on poverty. We'll see that these are some of the economic empowerment that has been created through the Itaukei, through the Koro Martin Tikina, which provide them the incentive for them to deliver their responsibilities in building programs that addresses planting of food, and also how they can look into improving their socioeconomic status. On SDG 2, Zero Hunger, I think it ties up with the MOU with agriculture, has been earlier stated by our PS. One of the main scope of that MOU is on the food nutrition security, and our provincial councils offices are working with agriculture in that regard. SDG 3 is on good health and well-being, WAS and community resilience component under well-being. I think this is one of the very, very core mandate of the ministry. One of the mandate is on the well-being, looking to how we can facilitate healthy living and also provide healthy standard of living to enable us to achieve this SDG 3. On SDG 4, on quality education, language and culture promotion, leadership curriculum, and capacity building. These are some of the activities that is in place that part of our SDP and our COP in order to deliver for us to promote quality education for our children and also for the community. SDG 5 on gender equality, a COP promotes non-discrimination and social inclusion, gender mainstreaming. We are part into this, our governance in our Itaukei Affairs Board, and also our Development Services Division. They participate into the development of these very important critical deliverables. Ensuring that the gender equality is in place, even though it's a... Yes.
On SDG 5, I believe this is one of the SDGs which is very important at all institutional level when you talk about the UN Convention. It needs to be addressed. Maybe I'll give you some light. PS and executive team, in the future, you need to address this at all levels of leadership, like have a fair gender equality, because most of the time when we go to Parliament, this is one of the major questions that is being asked. And hopefully, in your future development, you talk about your team, at least try to at least 1 or 2. You have to be opened up to other areas of, especially the gender that we are in. saying that it's equal right for all and special right for none. So it can be considered PS in your next relation. Thank you, sir. TPS.
Honorable Chair, we take note of your comment. I think if you look at the gender composition of the ministry, it's almost on equal par. In some areas, we cannot, particularly in the technical areas in terms of surveying, surveyors, given the nature of the work, going out to communities and walking those hilly areas, mapping out those land boundaries, are largely male dominated. But we'll take note of your comment. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. DPS, continue with that.
Honorable Chair, moving to SDG 11, Sustainable Cities and Communities. We very much participate and contribute into this in regards to some of our capital progress, VIS, Village Improvement Scheme, in trying to improve our villages and our communities. And SDG 13 on climate action, yes, conservation. The National Resource Owners Council, in which the forum look into how we can better manage and how we can better utilize and develop our natural resources, taking into consideration the climate change that are coming in and those challenges. So there are forums and also institutions within the ministry that look into this, and that is part of our deliverable as well. SDG 15, life on land, conservation, preservation of natural resources, protection, catchment, and traditional knowledge. These are some of the areas that we work in order for us to participate in this SDG number 15. The last one is SDG number 16, peace, justice, and strong institution. Like earlier stated, yes, through our leadership awareness and training, one of the main components is how they can be a good leader and look into the governance as well. They can maintain peace, justice, and also the standard of the institution that is in place to perform their roles and their responsibilities.
Thank you, sir. We can go straight to item 17 on the list.
Honorable Chair and honorable members, question number 17, can the ministry update its gender equality policies? The ministry actively participates in the development of the National Action Plan for 2023 and 2028, looking to gender violence against women and girls. There was a midterm review conducted, and also our team was part into this with other agencies, looking to how the NAP can be gender mainstreamed, and also a paper was submitted to the Great Council of Chiefs, in which it was positively endorsed, and this is one of the very critical areas that the ministry is working to moving forward. We are currently working with, like illustrated by our peers, with our Song of Marama, with Itaukei, with an MOU in which it will currently participate how we can work together in addressing the issues in regards to this to gender equality policies.
If I may elaborate on that, Honorable Chair and members. Gender equality, gender-based violence and violence against women and girls is a sensitive issue, given the traditional setting that we have. For workshops that has been conducted around the country, in which the chiefs, the chairman of provincial council, youth leaders, the leaders of the Song of Marama from each province attended. There were some concerns that were raised seriously, not by the male members, but also by the women members from the Song of Marama, and how these languages are being disseminated to the wider community. Because when you are working with the Ministry of Women, Ministry of Women has engaged the Fiji Women's Crisis Center. And most of the presenters there, they've suffered violence and are very emotional. So to address that in terms of trying to set the right language and tone to people out there, that's why we've asked the Song of Marama to work with the Ministry of Women in developing a manual for dissemination of the National Action Plan at provincial, Tikina and Vanua levels, so that it can be easily understood and also acceptable to everyone. We still have yet to sign the MOU. Hopefully it has been sent to SD's office, and we're still waiting for the finalized MOU, and we can sign so that they can undertake some of this work. And also developing a training manual for dissemination of the National Action Plan for GBV and VOG under the traditional setting. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, PS. I believe we're in the last question now, number 8. It's very straightforward.
And accountable chair and honorable members, for the staff employed in year 22-23 on the agenda. For 22, there were 86 males and 74 females, and for year 23, 92 males and 85 females. And accountable chair.
Thank you very much, Deputy PS. Question I want to ask here, just to wrap it up. We are still on the gender equality. When you talk about the year-wise, like the distribution of each staff, I'll go back to the question that we already discussed. In terms of importance of leadership at all levels, that's where comes the gender equality comes into the picture. I'm just suggesting for the PS and the team, when they go back, try to relook at this, because when you come to the executive level, there should be some formula distribution-wise for transparency in terms of deliberation when we go to Parliament on this subject area. Thank you. Honourable members, any other supplementary question before we wrap it up today? All good? Honourable Bia is still around, sir? Thank you very much, honourable members. Thank you very much, Secretariat. At this juncture, I wish to sincerely thank you all, especially PS and the executive team from the Itaukei Affairs. Thank you very much for availing yourself to this public hearing session. We thank you for your time and contribution that actually give us a wider scope of how the ministry runs. It's through the annual reports that we have already discussed from 2022 to 2023. And we hope that you will avail yourself for any further queries that the committee may have on today's submission. On that note, I declare this meeting closed. Thank you.